As the corporate sector evolves, Berkha Africa remains committed to cultivating world-class thought leaders and providing innovative, human-centered solutions that shape a prosperous future for African governments and businesses. About Berkha Africa. Berkha Africa is a platform that houses expert consultants from across the African sub-region that provide strategic sustainable leadership, organizational development, corporate governance, coaching, and ESG advisory services to businesses and African governments. Berkha's strategic thrust is to strengthen strategic alignment for Africa's development by bridging the gap between governments, businesses, and industry experts for leadership and business solutions, serving as a center for excellence and transformative leadership insights in Africa. The consortium is dedicated to shaping ethical, visionary, productive, and sustainable businesses and leadership across Africa. Through advisory, training, and coaching, Berkha supports executives, managers, and organizations in achieving excellence, growth, and sustainable impact. Visit our website www.berkhafrica.com for more information.
Our partnership and believes that institutions can only grow when the leaders have set themselves up to intentional growth. The two institutions are committed to equipping leaders, emerging leaders, and institutions with tools to achieve both personal and growth and also enhance accountability for sustainable impact. Leadership is not just about results, it's about sustainable impact. And today's conversation is going to give us a deep dive into how do we not just intentionally grow as leaders, but also plan the growth of the institutions that we work with. And welcome to today's webinar. We have many professionals who want to grow, and I believe you must be one of them, but only few of us. I'm saying of us because I used to be like that until I came across the 15 valuable laws of growth and put myself to it. Only few people do it on purpose. The difference is the intentional design, not just wishful thinking. I wish I could succeed in this. I wish my institution can grow to this level. This is what we want to do. Do you feel stuck in your journey of growth? Have you had some time to look at personally first? Have I been consistent in my personal growth? Or are you unsure of how to bridge the gap between who you are and who you are capable of becoming or who you want to become? This webinar is for all of us. And before I go into introducing the speakers for today, I would like to invite you to take a pause, take a deep breath, If you can see me, I'm also doing it. Breathe in, a very deep one, and breathe out to arrive fully in the room, because growth doesn't happen to distracted people. Growth happens to intentional people. So I'm going to ask you to arrive fully once again, wherever you are. Just take a deep breath in and breathe out. It's going to be a conversational session today. Very interactive. Have you done that? If you have, just type yes, I just arrived in the room. Just type in yes. If you have done that, let me know. Yes, I just arrived in the room. If you haven't, I'm giving you an opportunity again to take a deep breath. And in taking a deep breath, I'm telling you, breathe in, rest, concentration, and intentionality. And then breathe out all the confusion of the week and all the things that you need to do on your to-do list today, Saturday, and just be present for you in today's conversation. Good. I see a few people have arrived. If you haven't, good. Dr. Mavis says, I've just arrived. Good. I'm just taking a short pause to make sure. Stella says, I arrived first in the room. Awesome, Stella. Good. I think I arrived after you. Great. Cynthia says, I just did. Welcome, Cynthia. We don't just want you to log in and listen, but we want you to participate and be fully present in the conversation. Irene, you are welcome in the room. And then the next action we need to do is, Dora, welcome. I'll ask you a question, and you're going to type just one word. Just one word in the chat. Where are you currently succeeding in your life, but not yet growing? This is a very deep question. And my panelists are going to unpack all that you need to know between success and growth today, creating a roadmap of how to intentionally, consistently grow with much commitment. So type just one word in the room, in the chat. Where in your life are you currently succeeding, but not yet growing? I'm typing mine now. Mm. Somebody says education, relationship. I said, forgive me, I broke the code. Even though I said one word, I put two, personal and professional. Good. So you are succeeding, but not growing. Now the second word is where you are succeeding and where you are not growing. Let's have that. Okay, keep it coming. The reason why I'm taking you through these exercises is just for us to be able to appreciate where we'll be driving the conversation today, because it's not a lecture. Today's webinar is not a lecture. Today's webinar is a transformative conversation that every one of us, including myself in the room, should leave this webinar with something keep us awake, thinking and working. Many people desire success, but the question is, few people desire growth. We desire success, but just a few people design growth. Many of us want to change, but few of us are actually committed to transformation. In today's webinar, the 15 valuable laws of growth is just an intro into the actual program itself. It's not just a theory, it's a roadmap where people can grow intentionally. So I would ask you 3 more questions, and then I'll introduce our guest. I'm just laying the platform so that you appreciate where is this heading. So this morning, I ask you again, 3 more questions. If you are not fast in typing in the box, you can write it down, but I would love to have you type it in the box so that we all grow together and journey along in the conversation. The first question is, which aspect of your life are you growing intentionally? Like I told you, Berkha Africa and Nirel are focused and committed to building leadership across Africa. And for you to transform institutions, the people that drive and lead those institutions first have to be transformed personally before they can bring that effect and bring the same impact into the institution. Coach George says finance. Karen says my online brand. Beautiful. Karen, I think you are doing awesome. I checked you out. I think it was on TikTok, and I was like, wow. Keep it coming. Elizabeth, I haven't heard you. Hallelujah. Keep it coming. The next one is, where are you postponing your potential? You know that I can do this. Business connections, great, says Dennis. I can do this. People tell you, you are good at this. And the mistake a lot of people do is they just jump quickly and start without planning it. And somebody says, oh, I think I need some time to prepare for that. Where are you postponing your potential? Let's go. Research. Dora, I think I totally align with you on that. I have a confession to make. This morning, I actually made a confession. PhD, Coach Dennis, you just brought it out of me. I made a confession to my professor this morning that, Prof, I have paused my PhD for some months now. He was like, what's happening? I said, I have too much handling. And he was like, you need to stop postponing my healthcare journey. Great. So I align with you, Coach Dennis. I've also postponed it. Great. And the last one, before we zoom into hearing from our expert this morning, is if nothing changes in the next 12 months, where would you be? For this, I don't need you to chat. It's a reflective question. I need you to put down this question. And after the program, after hearing all that you need to hear about growth, I want you to go back to this question. If nothing changes in the next 12 months and you are still where you are, and you still keep postponing your potentials, and you still continue to work in ad hoc mode, where would you be? If you are done writing, I think we can zoom straight. So I'm going to get you off your autopilot mode. I'll interrupt your autopilot mode and say, let's get into the conversation for strategic decision making for growth this morning. Welcome once again to today's webinar. I have 2 powerful speakers, very much, very deep, because they are transformational coaches. I have personally experienced them in my professional work with them. And I must say that they have a lot to share. My first speaker this morning is James Barungi Bob. He's a respected leadership and growth practitioner whose work has impacted leaders across organizations and various African nations. Coach Dennis brings deep expertise in intentional growth, leadership transformation, and coaching for sustainable performance. We have performance, but he's focused on sustainable performance. With several years of equipping leaders, he is very passionate about helping individuals close the gap between potential and performance. Coach James is the CEO of Nirel Company Limited, and he's worked with the Public Service of Uganda. He's worked with the various ministries in Uganda, Forest Stewardship Council of Africa, and also Uganda Revenue Authority, National Bureau of Statistics. I can go on and on and on. Don't worry. When we are done, you can just Google him out and check to know more about him. Coach James, you are welcome to today's session. Can you kindly turn on your video and just say hi to all of us so we get to see you? Hi, James.
Hello, everyone. Glad to be on this call, and thank you very much for that warm welcome.
Thank you, James. And then the next speaker today is Coach Dennis. Dennis, let me see. I'm always struggling with mentioning Dennis's surname. He's Nuagaba. Dennis, please pardon me. Coach Dennis Nuagaba is an accomplished leadership facilitator and growth strategist with a very strong record of developing leaders and teams across Africa. Dennis's work extends towards organizations and executives, and he's intentional about building intentional growth structures that strengthens leadership capacity and drive transformations that last. Dennis is a certified transformational coach. He's a career strategist. He's worked over 20 years in and across Africa with NGO project designs, organizational development, performance management, career transformation. Dennis has worked with several international organizations in South Sudan, in missions across South Sudan, Kenya, Mozambique, Sierra Leone, Uganda, and now Ghana. Coach Dennis, you are welcome to today's conversation, and thank you for making time to share with us.
Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
Sorry, Coach Dennis, we can't see you. Would love to see you because we want you present in the room.
I'm trying to do my camera. It is misbehaving. You'll see me later.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you both. And thank you to everyone who made time to join in today's webinar. I'm going to shift from saying webinar into today's transformative conversation. Wherever you are joining us from, I see people from Sierra Leone. I see some people from Ghana. I see some of our people from Liberia. Okay, Kenya is represented. Good. Let me see. Okay, a few from Gambia. Great. And I see a lot more from Ghana. Yay. Thank you for coming online. So we're going to zoom into the transformative conversation and have Coach James give us an overview. When you talk about growth and planning growth, what is this 15 valuable laws of growth all about?
Thank you very much, Coach Lizzie, and let's just give her some love for preparing us to get into this session the way she has done. Send her some love. She's done really a commendable job, and yeah, I'm pretty excited to be here as Coach Lizzie mentioned.
Info.
Just a moment. Okay, so great. So as I was saying, very glad to be here today, and I'll kick off with a few thoughts. I know you're all wondering when we talk of the 15 invaluable laws, what are we exactly talking about? And we are going to just have an interactive conversation for just the next 10, 15 minutes and just scratch the surface, yeah? Scratch the surface. Because as we all know in life, there are principles to growth and transformation. And when we are talking about growth and transformation, we usually begin with self. It all begins with self. When we talk of organizations, who forms institutions? It's us, the people. So it's hard for you to separate the person growing from an institution growing. Because after all, it's the people that make up the institution. You've always heard of that adage. People don't run away from institutions. They run away from either their colleagues or their bosses, as it's usually said. So today we are going to center a bit on you as a person. And that's what the 15 invaluable laws of growth, that's where we start the conversation from. There's a quote that says, it's hard to improve your circumstances if you're willing to improve yourself. Meaning that everything begins with us. Let me just have you do something very practical. You're seeing my hand, my right hand. Try to point to the screen. When you point to the screen, you notice that 4 other fingers are pointing back to you. Yes? So I find that in life we point fingers at everything else save for ourselves. Yet 4 of our fingers are pointing back right at us. The circle of influence you have begins with you. And many times we live frustrated lives because we want to change things around us before we change ourselves. We want to succeed by changing things around us, which is important, but we have not yet changed ourselves because it begins from the inside out. So as we begin, there are 3 kinds of people in this world. The first kind of people are people who don't know what they would like to do. People who do not know what they would like to do. And usually they are confused because they have to deal with the frustration of not being aware of where they are in life and where they would want to go. So every wind that comes usually takes them to no destination. That's the first kind of people. There is the second kind of people. People who know where they would like to, what they would like to do, but do not do it. And these kinds of people, why they don't do what they would like to do is because of fear. So fear prevents them from changing course to pursue their dreams. This is the second kind of people. They are usually frustrated because they experience a gap of what they would want to be and where they would want to go. They know where they would want to go, but fear gets into the way. There's the third kind of people, people who know where they would want to, what they would want to do, and they do it. Those are usually fulfilled people. They have a strong sense of purpose. They grow intentionally because they are pursuing what they were created to do. So just a quick check-in with us. From these 3 kinds of people, I want you to just take a deep breath and just be honest with yourself. Category 1, category 2, and category 3 of people. When you take an honest self-assessment, where would you place yourself right now? Is it in people who don't know what they would like to do? So every road leads them? Or are you among the people who know what they would like to do, but don't do it? Because of fear, so frustration gets into the way. You find you're not doing things you know you need to do in your finances, in your family, in your relationships, in your personal growth? Or are you in the people who know what they would like to do and do it, and they're usually fulfilled? Which category? I'm checking in the message section to just, it's a moment for us to get a bit vulnerable with each other, because that's always the starting point. Where would you fall? Where would you fall? 3 categories, where would you fall? Category 1, thank you, hallelujah for that. Category 2, frustrated, Elizabeth, thank you for that. Karen, category 2. Linda, category 2.
Coach
Claire,
James,
yes.
one category I'm just asking is, how about those who know what they want to do, but really don't know how to do it? Maybe we
That
may
would
have
still
some people
be,
like that.
that would still fall under category 2. And sometimes the fear is as a result of people not being able to move the needle to understand how to do certain things. So they just fear. So that I would place it under category 2. Thank you for that thought, Coach. Mary, category 2. Dorothy, category 3. So I see here there's someone, I think Mark Colley says, a mixture of 2 and 3. So they are seasons, yeah? Then category 2. Great, thank you for being very vulnerable and sharing. And so why I'm here with us today is to just bring us to a place of understanding that, one, in life, if you're not going to be intentional about certain things, then don't expect to win by accident. It's rare that people win by accident. People win by intention. And one of the laws we teach, and it's why I'm starting with this, is that knowing yourself is the first step to growing yourself. Let me repeat that. Knowing yourself is the first step to growing yourself. And I like the awareness that you've brought in terms of categorizing where you would likely fall currently. Sun Tzu says in The Art of War, that's one of the materials for your reference, if you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not to fear the result of 100 battles. If you know the enemy and you know yourself, you need not to fear the battle, the result of 100 battles. So there's something we usually teach, that if you know yourself and you don't know, and the enemy in this context could be certain things that blindside you in terms of your awareness of yourself. If you know yourself and you do not know your enemy, the battle can go 50%, 50%. If you know what is sidetracking you, the enemy, and maybe you don't have good awareness of yourself, still 50-50. But when you have a good understanding of yourself, where you are, in terms of the different areas of life that you participate in, and where you would want to go, and you take the intentional steps, the result is usually success. So just like the ship you're seeing on my left, and interestingly, this This week, which has just concluded, I was in Dar es Salaam and I started getting ideas when I saw a big yacht like that. I started checking out a bit of those cruise trips that are out there. There's one that goes for a full year for only $70,000. You'll travel the whole world on a cruise ship. But I can only imagine that on that cruise ship, it can only go to where it's meant to go to when there is an awareness of where it starts out from in terms of the radar locations to where it's meant to go. It can't just be on sea. And that's where this quote comes in for me, that no wind favors him who has no destined port. Michael D. Montaigne. So we are saying that just like when you see a ship on the high seas, there is a radar that is dictating where it's going. Very small, but charts the course of that entire ship. Now, my question to us, that radar, is the ability for us to, first of all, appreciate who we are and then be able to bridge that gap to where we want to go. There's another quote here that says, people are anxious to improve their circumstances, but unwilling to improve themselves. So they remain bound. And this can speak to partly category 1 and category 2. And our offering today is a conversation on the known ways in which you can be able to bridge that gap between where you are and where you'd want to go. One of the ways we help you do that is by sharing certain time-tested principles. On my right hand, for the soccer lovers, just to check in, what do we know about the player that is on the screen? Here, I believe the gentleman may contribute even more than the ladies, so it's a context of the game, but I'm happy to hear from all of us on call. What do we know about this gentleman? And I've been deliberate not to speak, to even say his name. I'm waiting on us. What do we know about this gentleman? Or we even don't know him. Okay, as the rest share in the message section, I would ask Stephen, you can unmute very quickly and just in under 30 seconds share.
Okay, so
What do you know about?
that's Cristiano Ronaldo. He's
Yes.
won a number of Ballon d'Ors, and he's a top football player. Thank you.
Great. Top football player, won a couple of awards. Simon here says he is a consistent in the game. He is a football star from Coach Lizzie. Any other thoughts? Cristiano Ronaldo, and that is has an limited belief in himself and mental strength. Very good. Richmond says, a footballer who has been deliberate and consistent in his performance. Beautiful. Simon says, even at the age of 40, he is still effective and energetic. Beautiful things that we see. So if I'm to flip this into an analogy of a tree, we see the fruit. In Africa here, we have very beautiful mango trees. you have the fruit in terms of the mangoes that you see. That even when this tree is 40 years old, it's still producing fruit. There is consistency, there is deliberate. That this tree has withered storms and weathers, tough weathers. But this tree does not do that alone. It has roots that go firm into the soil. It has a trunk from which the nutrients move from the roots to the branches. So through the trunk to the branches. Then from the branches to see that fruit. So from where I sit, there is a level of intentionality from whoever grew this tree, first of all, but also from the tree itself. There is a certain principles it follows for it to give the fruit that you see. And to us, most times we don't even see the roots. We see the fruit. We judge the tree by the fruit. But remember, before the fruit, there was the process through which that tree did not find itself there. Someone probably planted it there. There was intentionality in that. So, one of the things, especially picking from the categories which we classified ourselves in, what moves you from one category to another, to the one of people who know what they would need to do and they do it, is one of the principles we teach, which is intentionality. That growth does not just happen. It has to be intentional. Growth does not happen by accident. You must be intentional. And Coach Lizian alluded to this. You must be intentional about your personal growth. Without a deliberate plan, people tend to plateau and regress. So just to check in before I even continue, how many of us have a plan to grow? Because it's said, as you see, Cristiano is 40 years. It's said that sometimes growth comes, sometimes age comes alone without what? Without growth. So it's very possible for you to increase in age, but not grow. Because again, you've violated the first principle, which is intentionality. Intentionality is seen through things like having a deliberate plan to grow. So, my question to us, do we have a deliberate plan to grow? And that is in all areas of life, from your spiritual life to finances, to your marriage, to children, to being an uncle, to all these other roles that you play in life. Is there a deliberate plan? Because one of the things actually we graduate with from this course that we do is a growth plan. You being intentional about growing. So I was just checking in again. Do we have a plan to grow? And that should be a simple yes or no. Do you have a plan to grow? Do you have a plan to grow? As I'm waiting for those yes and no's. So Cristiano says, talent without work is nothing. So you can be very talented, but when you're not intentional about your growth, it's nothing. He says, I'm not a perfectionist, but I like to feel that things have to be done well. That's one of the greatest footballers who usually has not less than 1,000 touches on that ball every day, even at the age of 40. Circling back to the messages, I like what I'm seeing. I see people say yes, 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 in so many different areas. Okay, that's good. What of the rest? The rest are a bit silent. The rest are a bit silent. Yeah. So, going further, and this reflection moment, Coach Lizian already had it. Now, I would want, as I do my second last slide here, I'd like to point us to a bit of things that get into our way. The things that get into our way and that get us from growing are things such as the assumption gap. The assumption gap states I assume that I will automatically grow. I assume that I will automatically grow. But I'm here to tell you that the mind shift you need is that growth is not automatic. You must be intentional about it. So why we find ourselves in the other category is partly sometimes we have suffered the assumption gap. The second gap that gets into our way of growth is what we call the knowledge gap. I don't know how to grow. And that was alluded to. But the mindset shift I'm encouraging us to have, you don't need to know everything. Just start somewhere and then learn along the way. And that's why I was asking you a question. Do you have a growth plan? Do you have a growth plan? If you are clear with what you want, the world responds with clarity. The timing gap. Many of us say, it's not the right time. It's not the right time to begin. There is never a perfect time. The best time to start is now. And some of you are attending this. Some of you will be able to walk away from this and start doing things differently. Others will, to be one of the other conversations had, and that's where it will stop. Timing gap. The longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds you will not do it. Let me ask a question, and this one I think the alumni who have gone through this program shouldn't answer. There was a story told there were 5 frogs on a tree. There were 5 frogs on a tree. 3 decided to jump. How many stayed? I'd want to hear from you from the message section. Just to re-emphasize my point here. There were 5 frogs on a tree. 3 decided to jump. How many stayed?
5.
So some people say 5. Anyone else with a different answer? I'm checking in the message section. Cynthia says 5. Stella says 2. Any other answers? The rest of us, what do we say? Macaulay 5. Jacob 5. The rest of us, what do we say? 5 frogs, 3 decided to jump. How many remained? Yeah? So from the feedback already shared, 5. So 5 seems to take the day. And I'm curious to know. From, let me pick Stella. Why do you say 2 stayed? Okay. As Stella maybe gets to that, let me just break the tie for us because of time again. When we talk of the timing gap and in relation to the 5 frogs, I was saying the longer you wait to do something you should do now, the greater the odds that you will not do it. And why I said when 5 frogs are on a tree, 3 decide to jump. How many stayed? 5 stayed, because there's a difference between deciding and doing. How many times have we decided and not done, and waited for the right time to do, and waited for the perfect time to begin? The timing gap for you. The mistake gap. I am afraid of making mistakes. I usually ask the question, what would you do if you knew failure was not an option? Because mistakes are part of growth. Embrace them as you're learning. The perfection gap, I'd have to find the best way before I start. If you want to see more of the way, then you have to get moving. You don't need the best way, just a way to start. Progress over perfection. The inspiration gap, I don't feel like doing it. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Action does not follow motivation. Sorry to break it to you. Start anyway. The comparison gap. Others are better than me. Don't compare, focus on your own progress. Are you better than you were yesterday? The expectation gap, I thought it would be easier than this. Growth is hard work, but it's worth it, I must say. Adjust your expectations. So my question to you, and one of my last few questions, or when you look at these gaps, the assumption gap, the knowledge gap, the timing gap, on and on, which of these gaps from number 1 to number 8 is affecting you most? Which gap is affecting you most? I'm checking in the message section. Which gap? Is it gap number 1? Just want to check in and see which one are we most affected by. Text. Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 3? Is it 4? Is it 8?
It's
Hallelujah, 8. Thank you, hallelujah. Stella, 3, which is the timing gap. Hallelujah, it was the expectation gap. Number 8 for Karen, the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this. Macaulay says 5, the perfection gap. I have to find the best way before I start. The rest of us, what do we say? Coach Lysiane, 5 and 8, the expectation gap and the perfection gap. Yeah. Meto, 4, the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making mistakes. Mary, gap number 8. That is the expectation gap. I thought it would be easier than this. So that's just a sample. And from the sample I've picked, I see 5 featuring a lot, the perfection gap. I see, 5 features quite a lot. So, as I said, it begins with awareness. When you know what affects you, then you're able to be supported through this. So with that background, there is a mindset shift that is demanded of us in each of these gaps. And I know Berkha Africa does coaching, does all this. Some of these areas are deep and you have to be supported through them. And you have to find yourself in environments such as these mastermind classes where you hear experiences and believe and know it's possible. So, again, on a scale of 0 to 10, just another check-in, and today is just largely for you to take stock of where you are in terms of a baseline and where you could be. When it comes to intentionality, there is what we call accidental growth, especially intentionality in growing and intentional growth. So in scale of 0 to 10, I'm going to read out a statement and I want you to tell me which spectrum are you? Are you in the middle ground? Accidental growth plans to start tomorrow. Intentional growth insists on starting now. Where are you falling in this? Are you at 4? Are you at 5? Because the fastest way to change things is to be able to know and put a label onto them. Accidental growth plans to start tomorrow. Intentional growth insists on starting now. Accidental growth waits for growth to come. Intentional growth takes responsibility for growth. You get off and you decide, moving forward, this is the area I need to improve, and these are the steps I'm going to take. Accidental growth learns only from mistakes. Intentional growth learns before the mistakes. Proactive. Accidental growth depends on good luck. Intentional growth relies on hard work. And as I read through, by the time I finish these statements, I need you to have formed a bit of a score around. I know you're supposed to score each statement, but just give me your subjective thought around this. Where do you fall on this spectrum of ranging from your accidental to intentional growth? Accidental growth quits early and often. Are you a person who quits early and often, or you persevere long and hard? Accidental growth falls into bad habits. Intentional growth fights for good habits, because again, habits, your habits shape your future. We just need to look at your daily calendar and we'll know where you will be in a few years. Accidental growth talks big. Intentional growth follows through. Accidental growth plays it safe. Intentional growth takes risks. Accidental growth, oh, you're thinking like a victim. Everyone is against me. Intentional growth thinks like a learner. On and on and on. And I like the last one. Accidental growth stops at graduation. Intentional growth never stops learning. It's a continuous process. So on this spectrum of 0 meaning you are towards accidental growth, 10 meaning you're surely towards intentional growth, where do you fall? From a scale of 0 to 10, where do you fall? Diana, very good. I'm seeing a 9. So towards your maxing, towards the scale. Claire, I'm seeing a 5. Yes, 50-50. Mary, I'm seeing an 8. Yeah, so stronger on the intentional growth spectrum. Dennis, a 9. Cynthia, an 8. Dorothy, a 5. Macaulay, a 6. Okay. What of the rest of us? Simon, a 6. So yes, moderately there. The rest of us, where are you on this spectrum? Where are you on this spectrum? And as I wrap up, really, the reflection moment is, now that you've known where you are in terms of growth, what specific steps are you going to take to grow personally and professionally? What steps will you take to move from accidental to intentional growth, or to enhance the intentional growth? Because I didn't see anyone score a 10. So meaning there is something that we can do. That's an action point for you to walk away with today. I would like to thank you for listening in and request Coach Lizian to invite Coach Lizian again. Thank you.
Wow. 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 I have been writing and scoring myself. To be honest with you, Coach James, if I didn't know about AI, not artificial intelligence, but appreciative inquiry, I would have left this webinar very dampened. But I love the bit that it's a journey. And if we are serious about becoming more intentional, more disciplined, and more impactful, we actually can grow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And the bit I love the most is the gaps, finding which gap exists in your growth journey. Thank you so much, Coach Dennis. And I believe if you have your emojis, I think I want you to help me just celebrate Coach Dennis. This has been an insightful one. In wrapping up, this is just a teaser to the 8 weeks 15 Valuable Laws of Growth program. It's 8 transformational days of reflection, planning, and action. But before I talk about the program, I want to have Coach Dennis. We have someone who has gone through the program. Just for the teaser today, I have so much that I'm already reflecting and decisions I have to take and action on. But Coach Dennis, if you can just share with us, you have been working with people, you have mapped out growth for leaders, young leaders. We want to hear a real life story. How has this worked out for you because you have been through it, and also for some of your clients? Coach Dennis.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Liz. I'm very sorry that my camera can't go on. It has misbehaved, but I will fix it later. I'm very happy to introduce to you Irene Kisache Henrietta to share her experience of going through this program before she joined and how it has impacted her. Briefly, let's welcome Irene, who has gone through this program. She made that decision of coming on board to this program, and it impacted her and the benefits she has been able to harvest from this program. Coach Irene, you are welcome to share your experience. Over to you, Irene.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to share my experience on this call this afternoon. Thank you so much, Berkha Africa and Nirel, for entrusting me to share a few of the things that I've experienced. My
Thank
name
you,
is
Irene, but your video, we can't
camera.
see you, Irene.
I really don't know what's happening to our cameras today. It's actually turned on and I'm seeing black.
Okay, that's fine.
I really don't know what's happening. I'm so sorry about that, friends, but maybe at another opportunity, we'll be able to get that one right. So my name is
Are you
Irene.
using Lenovo laptop?
Yes, I'm using Lenovo.
There is a button on top of the camera. You can turn it around.
Which I did, and my camera is telling me about a certain update that I need to run, I think. Yes,
Okay.
so yeah. But also I can join the same call on my mobile if you don't mind. And just to make the experience better for our colleagues. Let me do that again. Sorry about that. So I will have 2 entries, then you'll just let me in on the second one. Okay. Okay, I think someone should let me in.
It's open, eh? There's no waiting room.
Okay, let's see how that goes.
Yes.
So is that better?
Beautiful.
Excellent.
Nice to see you, Irene. You have just a few minutes.
Okay, great. So like I was saying, that I hope I'm very audible at this point. Yeah, I think that is much better. Great. So I have been a part of transformational leadership for a while. And how does this start for me? In 2024, a close colleague asked me a very important question. Irene, what is your plan for the next 10 years? And for a moment, I think through it and I'm like, I need to get back to you on that. So I took a few moments, I wrote down a few things, and 1 week later, I come back to them and I say a lot of things. Now, probably what they didn't tell you is that I'm a professional. I've been in the IT industry for over 10 years now, and I'm also a business owner. I also mentor a few people here and there. I also am a mother. I do a lot of sports to keep healthy, so I'm into fitness a lot. I do boxing and swimming. I've played cricket. And in my journey in the IT industry, I have been in service desk management. I've been in data center design. Right now, I'm focusing on IT projects, and I'm a very busybody. So I have a lot that is going well for me. But when I was asked to explain what my 10-year plan was, ladies and gentlemen, I froze. So I had a lot of things written out, but they were not systematic. They were not sequenced. They were not aligned to who I wanted to be as an individual. So that is how I ended up joining a class that was studying the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And for sure, I won't lie, I was astonished at how I had been alive for so long, and I didn't even know that there was a formula, to how I can plan and channel out my life. Because when someone says that you need to be intentional about your growth, for me, it didn't make sense. I didn't know, what does this even mean? Because I have all these things that I am doing, So I was doing so many things that are going in different directions. Yes, they were all going well, because I'm a red personality type. So when I get onto an activity, I must do it. It must succeed. So I'm very busy doing a whole lot of things. So when I entered this class, one of the things that took me by surprise was the fact that there was a lot I was doing, but it wasn't very focused. So the first benefit that I got out of this class was getting clarity and direction for where I wanted to go. Most of the time, I was very sure what I wanted to do in my career. But when it came to areas like my family, my business, my health, my friends, those are things that I hadn't been very intentional about. And I didn't have any clarity and didn't even know what tools to use to align in those areas. So being in this class enabled me to get access to tools that gave me a clear roadmap on what do I want to do for family? What do I want to do for my business? What type of friend do I want to be? How do I want to manage the different friendships that I have? And this was absolutely helpful. So even when I was doing very many things, I was succeeding at all of them. But the way the success was happening, it didn't involve any growth. These were spontaneous one-time activities. Sorry about that. There was no evidence of how I want my call got interrupted. So when we were studying about the law of environment, one of the things that the class really enabled me to do was to be in a place with like-minded people. Because I realized that the things I was struggling with as an individual were not unique. The Bible says that nothing under the sun is new. Everything that we are dealing with has been done by someone. Someone has gone through it. They've developed solutions around it. And you just need to be in the right environment to act as a catalyst to your growth. So being in such an environment where we sit and talk about what our plans are, what the challenges are, was a very, very big opportunity for me to improve in my life. Now, you might be wondering then, so what happened to me after 2024? So some of the exciting things that happened in my life immediately, I started to see spontaneous growth in the areas that I'm very excited about. For example, I mentioned that I'm a business owner. I run a couple of Airbnbs in Kampala, Uganda, and currently I am rated as a 5-star host. So all my properties are guest favorites. I'm a super host on Airbnb, and my business is going very well. But that is because I was very intentional about how many guests do I want to have? What are the revenues I want to see through these properties? What kind of guest experience do I want to have? But that is something that I didn't know before I entered this class. Then the second thing that happened to me is I actually got a promotion at work. The way I exerted myself as a leader immediately changed, and everyone around me could see that change, and eventually they wanted to see me get this impact through with the other people around me. So I immediately got a promotion, and now I'm leading a team of 3 incredible people. And even the team that I was on before, I am seeing a lot of progress from the individuals that I left on that team. But also through these short 2 years, I've managed to do one-on-one coachings for about 4 colleagues of mine who are also experiencing very, very wonderful growth, and they make me very proud. But ladies and gentlemen, this was not easy. So the law of pain came in and played with me as well. In my business, I had to painfully close one of the houses that I had been running for over a year. And it was a very heartbreaking moment to see such a big investment close. But I had to pick myself up. And again, this is something that they talk about in the law of pain. How do you translate your bad experiences into learning points? And that led me to opening another property that is now the best out of the 3 that I have. It's bringing in the best reviews, it's bringing in the highest revenues in just less than 1 year. Now, I can't imagine what would have happened if I had sat down and sulked about it and closed shop and went home. So it's been quite a wonderful journey. And for me, the thing that astounds me the most is the fact that the learning doesn't stop. Even listening to Bob this morning, some of the things that he mentioned triggered very interesting conversations in my mind. And I was also writing down things. So the information doesn't get old. The more you read it, if I can show you, right now I bought a tablet where I have a whole multitude of books that I read. Irene was not a reader 2 years ago. Irene just wanted to do the easiest things and go. But now I sit and read this content. I sit and plan my finances. I can show you a finance tracker I have on my mobile phone that shows me if I'm overspending, what are the areas I'm overspending on. Then it helps me to develop strategies. I have become organized. I have become a more clear-headed person. And this could not have happened if I wasn't seated in a valuable class like the one that's just about to start. So ladies and gentlemen on this call, if you hadn't made up your mind to join the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, this is the call to action for you. You had better join before the slots run out, because this is an experience that can change your life, that can change your family, that can change your children, and that can change your organization if you put in the work. So that is it from me, and I look forward to hearing from everybody as you join the class going forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Irene. That was very, very mind-triggering. And I must say, please, just after the program, I'll try to get your contact. I need your finance tracker.
Yes, absolutely.
Part of the takeaways I'm taking from this program. Which area of your life are you stuck at? What has resonated the most with you in today's session? What challenges you? What would you like to apply today? And what must change immediately after the information and the new knowledge that all of us have had? In wrapping up, I would invite Coach James to just tell us about the program, when the program is starting. We did not only want to give you a teaser. Today's webinar was just one law that we touched. We have 15, 1 out of the 15. And it's an 8 weeks program. I would leave that for Coach Dennis to give a brief. Then, sorry.
Coach James.
Okay, Coach James, to give us rundown on the program date, start-off date, and then we would invite you to join us on a transformational growth journey. So you can also have a testimony like Irene. Coach James.
Thank you very much, Coach Liz, for that, and Irene as well. Very inspiring. So the course begins 7th March, and 7th March we will be welcoming a new cohort on board, and it will be strictly online. It will be running for 8 weeks, and the course fees right now stand at $250. And before we finish, I'll share a link that you follow for you to be able to register. There is also a QR code that you can work with to be able to get registered on board. Now, when you're registered on board, what do you expect? Already, Irene has spoken to many of those through her testimony, but I'll just want to just highlight a few things. So it's an 8-week program. In there, we do very practical oriented kind of facilitation. You will have a personal growth workbook that you run with, where you can be able to put your thoughts together. Every week there is a mission you go on to practically incorporate certain principles. If it's the law of pain, how does good management of bad experiences play out, and how can you be able to apply that? So very, very practical oriented. And as you go through, we have an accountability group that we put you in so that you can have the right environment, and the peer-to-peer learning can happen in there. Then we also, before the end of the course, we have usually a clarity call where we engage with you to just see how to walk this journey with you, because it's said that to know the best way ahead is to ask someone who is returning. So through all that, you learn practically, and you're able to apply practically many of these concepts. So as additional course requirements, you must be able to attend at least 7 out of these 8 sessions. You have to be able to read a full book on 15 invaluable laws. Those are resources that are critical, because leaders are readers and growing people are readers. As you saw Irene with a whole catalog of books to read, you have to be able to, in terms of time allocations, there's a 1-hour session every week. Then you are supposed to submit those weekly assignments, practical assignments, which may require 30 minutes to 1 hour of your time. You have also to share a couple of reflections on LinkedIn, since we are in the era of being online. We need to see that you're able to engage with such professional platforms. And again, all this in your favor, because if you are a careered person or in business, when people are looking at some of your handles, they want to see what kind of person is this one. And when they see that you're a growing person, that also enhances your prospects. So that's how largely the program runs, and we share with you a whole course description once you sign up, for which you're able to pick up on many of these details. So I'll stop here for now and revert back to Coach Lizzie. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Coach James. And I think this is what every leader or aspiring leader needs at a time like this, where the world is so chaotic. We need to find people who know exactly where they want to be, when they want to be there, and how they need to get there. I think the how more is what the program would help to fix, because most times people know what they want, they know when they want it, but how is where the challenge is. So in wrapping up, I just want to ask you, what has your growth journey cost you so far? What has your lack of growth cost you so far? Some people say, I'm doing an MBA, I'm doing a PhD, but those are all good. But taking time to learn the laws of growth, helps you to maximize growth. And who is depending on your growth right now? If you are a leader in your institution, because it's not just about the academic certifications, it's about the competences, it's about the personal values, it's about the skills that you acquire. And this is very crucial. I am ready to grow intentionally. I don't know about you. Will you remain where you are, or would you like to grow on purpose? This morning is just not a webinar. It has been a turning point for me. And I believe the same for some of us who are online. I want you to know that you are not here by coincidence. You are here because growth is calling you. Yes, I'm talking about you, Lena, Bridget, Maureen. Growth is calling you and all of us. On behalf of Berkha Africa and Nirel Uganda, thank you for choosing to invest in yourself. Let this be a moment that you stopped hoping to grow, but start taking intentional steps to grow. Sign up for the program. I don't know if you have the link on the page right away. If you don't, then Coach James or Dennis or Georges, I would like you to put the link on the page. You can also check out our various LinkedIn and other social media handles. Let this be the moment that you stopped hoping to grow and not just take a decision, but actually jump in, register, and start growth intentionally. Have a powerful and transformative day ahead. Don't forget, all the questions that were asked are reflective questions. I hope you were putting them down. If not, Georges, you can put our social media handle, the WhatsApp channel. We'll put together a pack of reflective questions as a takeaway for today's program. So over the weekend, you can reflect on them, share with your partners, share with your colleagues so that they reflect, and let us live a reflective and planned life. That is the only way we can grow. Thank you for making time, and God bless. Have a wonderful transformational day ahead.
As the corporate sector evolves, Berkha Africa remains committed to cultivating world-class thought leaders and providing innovative, human-centered solutions that shape a prosperous future for African governments and businesses. About Berkha Africa. Berkha Africa is a platform that houses expert consultants from across the African sub-region that provide strategic sustainable leadership, organizational development, corporate governance, coaching, and ESG advisory services to businesses and African governments. Berkha's strategic thrust is to strengthen strategic alignment for Africa's development by bridging the gap between governments, businesses, and industry experts for leadership and business solutions, serving as a center for excellence and transformative leadership insights in Africa. The consortium is dedicated to shaping ethical, visionary, productive, and sustainable businesses and leadership across Africa. Through advisory, training, and coaching, Berkha supports executives, managers, and organizations in achieving excellence, growth, and sustainable impact. Visit our website www.berkhafrica.com for more information.